Hey everybody, it's GauntletX and welcome back to some more Magic Arena. Today I'll be playing another Premier Draft of Dominaria United. Without further ado, let's just get into it. Not a super strong pack 1, our rare doesn't really synergize with anything in the set, but it is a 3-mana 3/3 menace, so if you're already in the color pair it's fine, but not really a reason to jump into red-black from the get-go. Cult Conscript can be good in an aggressive strategy, or a deck that has a lot of good graveyard synergies. That can be pretty fun. Runic Shot is a pretty solid removal spell for slower decks, being able to destroy tapped creatures for really cheap. If you're in blue-white, you get scry off of it as well. But those uncommons are pretty on par with our best commons, which are like Lightning Strike here. Very efficient removal. Impulse, very efficient card draw. Take up the shield, a very good combat trick. Not sure what I want to go with here. All these are pretty fine. I think I kind of want to try out a really aggressive Cult Conscript deck. I tried that one time before, I couldn't get it to work super well, but maybe I can get it to actually do something this time. I think the stats just look so solid on rate. It's just a bad blocker late game. Unfortunately, nothing really to follow that up with here. There's no good black aggro cards, but Banalish Sleeper for a white-black deck could be pretty good here. That is a good synergy for the Cult Conscript, because we can sacrifice it, and then later in the game we know it can come back at some point, whereas our opponent's creatures can't. Yeah, I could go with Banalish Sleeper here. Again, the uncommons are solid here. Runic Shot, fine for a slower deck, and Turricannurid, fine for a slower blue-white spells deck. But I haven't been the biggest fan of Turricannurid, a 3/3 flyer for 5. Definitely need to make sure this card has impact later in the game in your deck. The best way to play this is ideally on turn 6, you hold up a Shore Up to give it hexproof if your opponent has removal, because otherwise the fact that this dies to bite down Lightning Strike so much removal is pretty brutal. 5-mana card with only 3 toughness there, but just go with Banalish Sleeper. Bone Splinter is another card that's going to be really nice in the archetype, but these will probably go pretty late in the draft pods. I think we could take Love Song of Night and Day first. This is 3 mana to get a 1/1 flying bird, and then get a +1/+1 counter on that bird and another creature you control. So 3 mana for 2 power in the sky and 1 extra power somewhere else. Been a pretty big fan of Love Song of Night and Day. Vohar is a pretty great card too, though, and it also synergizes well with Cult Conscript. We can draw a card and then discard the Cult Conscript because we know it can come back sometime later in the game. Less of a fan of getting into blue-black than I am blue-white, but the Merfolk Looter ability is quite nice. I might actually go Vohar here. Well, there we go. There's one of the black-white build-around sort of payoffs here, and nothing incredible at common, so I think we can just go with that. Aaron Benalia's Ruin. Double white and a black for a 3/3 menace. You can spend 2 mana, tap it, sacrifice another creature to put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. So ideally, the black-white decks, you want to get a lot of 1/1 tokens, and then use those tokens for value off of Aaron or Banalish Sleeper, stuff like that. So I think we've got a pretty good start to head into that archetype. Argivian Phalanx, easily the pick here. It's the only card on color for white-black. If we wanted to take a blue card to go with Vohar, we only have a turtle, which is not very good. So we'll just take the Argivian Phalanx, which also synergizes really well with getting a bunch of 1/1 tokens, so we'll absolutely scoop it up. Best cards in this pack off color are Sunbathing Root Walla and Infusion, so we are seeing some good green-red stuff. But still plenty of white stuff here. We see an Argivian Phalanx and a Charismatic Vanguard. Urborg Repossession in black is really nice, but that's only if you can kick it, because then you are getting the 2-for-1, returning 2 permanents from your grave to your hand and gaining 2. 1 creature, 1 non-creature permanent. Or 2 creatures, because you can return any permanents plus 1 creature. Anyways, the main thing that I'm getting at there, the main important part, is the fact that you have to really kick it for the green mana for it to be good, so I'm not just going to take that just because we're in black. But it is really, really good when you can kick it. Pretty easy Charismatic Vanguard here. This is also fine in these go wide archetypes. Being able to buff your whole field later. Espionage is pretty great in blue, though. And while Vanguard is fine, it's not great. I think Espionage does get above that level in this format. And Vanguards do tend to go late in the draft pods as well. We have one blue card so far, Vohar, so maybe a little speculative here, but I'm actually going to take Phyrexian Espionage. Very impressed by this draw spell in the format. Just 3 mana draw 2 has played well. And if you can kick it, that is the icing on the cake. Don't think we're aggressive enough to try to use Toxic Abomination. Automatic Librarian is solid. Mace Cavalier is solid. I think I'll just go with the Cavalier, get some flying in the deck. Not in love with the 1 toughness, but it's not a lot of like 1 damage or -1/-1 in the format. So it doesn't really matter if your opponent doesn't have flyers. We're very happy to wheel a Captain's Call. That's going to be great in this archetype. Getting 3 tokens off of this 1 card for 4 mana. Really nice green domain stuff in that pack. Still getting past. Shore Up if we end up in blue, or Automatic Librarian fits into pretty much any deck as a solid filler card, so I'm just going to take a Librarian. Because I'm not really going to splash in a Shore Up. And blue is very much looking like a splash here. Oof, late Bone Splinters. Pretty happy with that. Vivisector is really solid filler for this archetype as well, but I'm going to take Bone Splinters first. Pretty happy with how things have gone here towards black-white. Even get a last pick Abomination if we do want to get that aggressive. Nothing phenomenal in this pack. Splatter Goblin is fine. Love Song of Night and Day is fine. That's about it for us in black-white. I could try to splash in an Urg if I can get some green duels, but for these more aggressive archetypes, I try to play less splashy decks and get them just a bit more streamlined towards curving out well. So let's take... probably take the Love Song of Night and Day here. Although I am low on 2-drops, 2-drops are pretty important. Got 4 3-mana cards already? Sure, we'll take a Splatter Goblin over that. Want to get some better 2-drops. I'm not a huge fan of the Abomination. The life loss is pretty painful. Pretty hefty fee for a card that's going to trade into 2-mana 2/2s anyway, just like any other would. Tachiova. Incredible card. Not what we're doing today. We'll take another Banalish Sleeper most likely. Yeah, there's a Heroic Charge, which would be fine. Vivisector, Aggressive Sabotage would be fine. But we're definitely going to go for another Sleeper. That's just the best card in this archetype. Maybe not the best card, but one of the best commons for it. Super good stuff. Wow. Somebody's getting the freebie draft. Double Tachiova. They're going to get them pick 3, pick 4. Why does this never happen when I'm the domain deck? When I'm the green-blue deck? Such a freebie. My god. Alright, well, we're definitely taking the just great removal spell there, the Extinguish the Light. Looks like we're probably not ending up the blue deck that we were speculating towards. Vivisector, another Cult Conscript. I could really lean into this card. It is quite fun with Banalish Sleepers. Sacrifice it, and then later in the game, it's going to come back pretty easily. Yeah, I'll take another Cold Conscript over the Vivisector. Let's really try to go for it with Cold Conscript synergies. Okay, Take Up the Shield is a very, very good trick in aggressive strategies. I haven't been the biggest fan of Raven Man. It's just very slow, and 1 toughness hurts a lot on ground creatures. But I've been a really big fan of Take Up the Shield. I'm going to take it over Bone Splinters as well, because we've seen how late the last Bone Splinters went. If we need more, we can probably just get more at the very end of these packs. Take Up the Shield is just such a good card in aggressive strategies. It works particularly well with high power, low toughness creatures like Banalish Sleepers. All of a sudden putting a counter on that, making it 4 power, gaining 4 life, and giving it indestructible during the combat. So it doesn't even die, it just wins the fight. Take Up the Shield is a heck of a card. I like Phyrexian Vivisector. a solid bit here. Just good filler for the black-white sacrifice archetype. Drawbridge would be fine as well, but this is better in more defensive decks. Another Take Up the Shield, come on in. Really going to get to show off that card's power, and it might even be worth running the double Abomination if we're going to have Take Up the Shield, or the one Abomination. I'm actually probably still going to take a Griffin Protector over second Abomination. Stall for Time would also be okay in here. Even if we don't splash blue, just tap 2 things, draw a card. But I think I would rather take Griffin Protector. I like this a lot as well in token decks. So far we only have one thing that makes tokens, but preferably we can get some Argivian Cavaliers or something in here. We'll see. Again, with only one thing that makes tokens, Heroic Charge might not actually get there. But I guess I have 4 2-drops already if I cut Abomination and 2 1-drops. Sure, we'll take a Heroic Charge. Don't know if Heroic Charge makes the cut yet, but maybe. Maybe. Some cards we're probably going to end up cutting. But now we've got a full 23 card deck, even without the blue splash. And every pick we make from this point on can just be making the deck better. Just cut something weaker for the better card. And yeah, Shieldred is the better card, I would say. Probably the best card in the format. 4 mana for 4/5 Death Touch. When you draw a card, gain 2. When an opponent draws a card, they lose 2. It just takes over the game really quickly. Super hard to kill. Unfortunately, this pack is absolutely jam-packed with cards we would have liked to see early. Every single uncommon in this pack would be incredible in our deck. Destroy Evil is a great instant speed removal spell at common, and Phyrexian Rage is a great value play at common. So really sad to see everything that we would want in this deck all chunked up into one pack. But hopefully there's some more in these other packs. Not really here. This is one of the sad parts of draft, is when you see a pack like that, where it's like, that is everything I want in my deck, and I guarantee the packs I get past are not going to have things nearly as good for my deck. It's just all clumped up in one. If these cards were like one in every pack scattered around, it would be so much better. But now I have to just take another Bone Splinters or a first Tribute to Urborg or Griffin Protector. Nowhere near as good as everything we saw in that last pack. Joint Forces is fine, but we already have double Take Up the Shield as great combat tricks, so I don't think we have room for that. I don't know. It's definitely not Linebreaker Bailoff. I don't know what Arena's doing. I'll just take a Tribute to Urborg, I guess. Yet again, none of the premium cards we want. Stronghold Arena might actually be fine in here. Whenever one or more creatures control deal combat damage to a player, reveal the top card of your library, put it into your hand, lose life equal to its mana cost. We are aggressive. We have a little bit of life gain with double Take Up the Shield. This might actually be good in this deck. I don't know, but I'd like to try it. We'll try a Stronghold Arena here. Black-white dual land would be sweet. Splatter Goblin would be solid. That's about it. I'll just take the dual land. Definitely Phyrexian Rager. Excellent value play. Come on in. Warhorse is good in this archetype too, but Rager is just one of the best black commons for any deck. Super good stuff. How many clerics do we have for the cleric tribal rare? 0. Alright. Sad Day Shadow Rite Priest. Guess we're taking a Battlefly Swarm, a Tattered Apparition, or a Stall for Time. Probably not playing anything in this pack. I could just rare draft the cleric. I only have 1 holding down the alt key. I'll take the Stall for Time. I doubt it makes the cut, but I think it's more likely than anything else in that pack. Destroy Evil definitely makes the cut. We'll take that. Lots of big creatures in the format to blow up with this, and there are a good amount of enchantment-based removal spells out of like white strategies that you can blow up with this, which is also good. No way to kick this. Sabotage has been solid though. I'll pick up the Sabotage. Maybe I will actually play a Mind Rot one time. Barricade would theoretically be good, but we still have 1 token producer, just Captain's Call, so we have to take reinforcements here. 2 tokens off 1 card, or 2 creatures off the 1 card. So sorry, Gibbering Barricade. A lot of options with how we want to build this. Acolyte's not good without the green splash. We'll take a Vanguard now. Some really late Sojourners in this draft pod. Slam those in the side. Ooh, a rare. We get to rare draft in the end. It's pretty sweet. I don't think I'll play Tattered Apparition, but I'm not going to immediately put it in the sideboard. Well, I get to cut a lot of cards out of this deck. We have 11 cuts to make. I think I am going to cut these drawbridges. I had them in the sideboard initially, but I wanted to put everything on color in the deck so I could explain all of the cuts. I could show off all the cuts, and drawbridges mainly because I don't think it's that good in more aggressive strategies because of the hefty fee to tap down creatures. It can still shut off blockers, but again, it's just so much mana to be doing that. But you can't really do it until you're at the point where you're not adding to the board state anymore, which is pretty late for aggro decks. I don't love the Toxic Abominations. Already kind of said my piece on these during the draft itself, and now I have enough 2-drops that I feel comfortable cutting these. They would have been my worst 2-drops, but I would have still ran them if I didn't have, like 5 other 2-drops here. But since I have 5 others, I'm going to go ahead and cut them. Just don't like the life loss is a hefty fee to pay when the card, more often than not, is going to do pretty much the exact same thing as a 2-mana 2/2, which is just trade into an opposing 2-mana 2/2. The additional 1 power is not that big of an advantage to pay for the life cost. All my 3-drops are fine. The weakest are probably actually like Charismatic Vanguard and Aaron here, just because we didn't actually end up being that much of a token deck. We have like a Captain's Call and a Resolute Reinforcements, and that's it. Aaron is still a nice menacing body though, which is fine, so maybe Vanguard is worse. But I don't think Aaron's great here. Tattered Apparition is really slow for the mana cost. 4 mana for a 2/2 flyer. You have to dump additional mana into it for it to be worth the cost at all. Otherwise, it is well below the curve at its cost, so not a big fan of that card either. We'll cut that. Griffin Protector also not looking insane in this deck because of the low token producer counts, but I think it's definitely better than the Apparition. So I think these are creatures I'll definitely cut. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of here. It's going to put us down to 16 creatures. So definitely don't want to cut any more creatures from that point, as we are pretty aggressive. So we cut 5 non-creature cards now. Heroic Charge, with the lack of token production and the slightly lower creature count, is looking a little weak as a finisher. Stall for Time with no way to kick it also probably doesn't do too much. Could cut Aggressive Sabotage just because I'm not the biggest fan of main decking Mind Ruts. Again, this is a format where I have gotten destroyed by this card so many times that I know statistically, just like performance-wise, I am undervaluing this card and is actually fine in this format because so many decks have so much like consistent value that games are ending, like the final turns of games still often end with people having multiple cards in hand, where there's just so few opportunities for you to draw this where it doesn't actually make your opponent discard 2, which is the biggest downside to this kind of card. But I still don't love that it doesn't affect the board in any way, and I still really hate drawing this in a top deck war to the point where I think I'm still not gonna play the Mind Rot, even though I know like it's actually playable this time around, and maybe I should try it out, but I'm just never gonna do it, I think. I don't love the idea of this Stronghold Arena. I still want to try it out at some point. There's a lot of issues with this card. Obviously, if you're in an aggressive matchup where you're both just attacking past each other, the life loss is going to be really painful. And if you're not, if you're against a grindier deck, say you're against Domain or something and they have 4/6s and stuff, like the fact that you have to connect for this card to do anything is pretty brutal. That means there's going to be games that you have to account for where this will just be a dead draw. Like, say you've gotten all your early aggro out of the way, and then they just drop a 4-6 on board and you can't do anything anymore. And then you draw into like a stronghold arena. It's like, well, the game's a board stall. I can't get in. And I feel like there's been more than enough games that I've had in this format that have ended in a board stall that's actually going to be a large enough percentage of the time that you draw this to consider as a pretty big downside of the card. The fact that it does absolutely nothing if you're in a board stall, if neither player can really attack into each other. Mainly if you can't attack into your opponent, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm never gonna try this. I kind of think I'm gonna cut it. Then we need to cut one more card. Could cut a land here. Phalanxes are often 4 mana or less. Average is 2.8. Not super in love with cutting a land, but I have 2 automatic librarians that can help scry towards lands, and Rager can help draw towards them. Multiple 2-drops, or sorry, 5 2-drops, multiple 1-drops. I guess technically we have multiple of both. Maybe I cut 1 Bone Splinters here, with only 2 cards that make tokens. Yeah, it's probably cut 1 Bone Splinters or cut 1 land. But Bone Splinters also work with the Cult Conscripts, so I think they're fine. Let's cut a land here. We have 12 white cards and 11 black cards. We have 1 card that requires double white, 2 cards that require double black. We go slightly higher on black sources than white sources. Aaron's gonna have a bad time, but everything else about that split looks solid to me. Alright, here is a look at the completed deck for today. It's going to be a black-white aggro deck. Theoretically, we have a little bit of sacrificing and token producing going on, but we don't have as much as I think you'd want. We just have a Captain's Call, Resolute Reinforcements for token production, and a couple Cult Conscripts that are great at getting sacrificed. We mainly just have some pretty decent creatures on curve, with a couple Take Up the Shields to really make them better. So say you get a 2 mana 3/1 down, all of a sudden, whenever that gets blocked later, say your opponent plays the 4 mana 4/4 Reach or something, being able to put a counter on this, make it a 4/2 lifelink indestructible, that's going to be huge. So I think Take Up the Shield is probably one of our best cards in the whole deck, honestly. It's going to make all these random 2 mana dorks a lot better. And yeah, a lot of pretty filler stuff in the deck. The best thing we have going for us is we did open up a pack 3 Shieldred. And we have some decent removal between Extinguish the Light, double Bone Splinters. For the Bone Splinters, of course, we have a little bit of token production between Captain's Call and Reinforcements, and we have a couple Conscripts that can come back from the grave later in the game as our other creatures die. So looks like a pretty solid, pretty fun deck. I'm definitely happy with the deck because it's something that I haven't been playing a lot recently. I'm happy to finally play something other than just a 3-4 color green pile of nonsense. The format was getting pretty stale, pretty samey to me when I just ended up in draft pods where I felt like the green domain stuff was the best thing going on in the draft pod each time. So hopefully we get to play a wider variety of decks in these coming drafts and do some more stuff like this. Nice little black-white sack deck. So without further ado, let's head into the gameplay. Here we are, game 1, opponents on the play. If we hit 1 land, we can Librarian to try to get to Shieldred, and I feel like Shieldred is a powerful enough card that you should keep looser hands like this. Maybe not on the play, but definitely on the draw. Little bit of a coin flip here, how this game goes for us, but again, I think if we can land a Shieldred, it's going to be really hard to lose the game if our opponent can't get rid of it. So cross our fingers that we draw land in our first 3 draws, and then scrying 2 can get us to the 3rd land. So far we are 0 for 2, 2 coin flips lost. Technically, they're weighted against us a little bit. It was like a 40% chance the first time, 45% chance draw number 2. Or 42%, something like that. Alright, well, we are not going to the casino today, that's for sure. That is 3 40-something% chances lost in a row. Timely interference opponent just going to draw a card here. Next draw, we're at a 47% chance to hit the land, so we're into just straight up coin flip territory now. Founding the third path, they get to cast an instant or sorcery with mana value 1 or 2. They get to recast one from their graveyard off of number 3. I have somebody mill as well. They had nothing to cast in hand, but they didn't read ahead still. Maybe they're waiting to get a particular instant or sorcery in their graveyard. So they want the time to have the mana up to cast the big instant or sorcery. They probably have Essence Scatter by now, but luckily I have a second automatic Librarian. Alright, no Essence Scatter cast here. Well, wow, that is a difficult choice. 4th Swamp? So I know I can cast Sheoldred? Or dig for that Plains. Oh, that's painful. I think I have to just 4th Swamp it. I can't really cast Sheoldred against 2 open mana. So I'll have to keep that in mind. Maybe I'm just casting another Librarian and I can use that Librarian to hopefully get a Plains. They could mill me with this Founding if they are scared of what I scribed at the top. But yeah, I have to assume there are a lot of good cards that care about having a high instant sorcery count in your grave. A couple auras, though, from our opponent. So they are not doing very well for their Tolarian Terror or anything like that. Let's attack in, see if my opponent uses any removal. No, they're just going to go down to 9. Makes it even more likely that their hand is counterspells. I'm not going to drop Sheoldred. Let's drop an automatic Librarian. I don't think there's any counter unless you pay 1. Oh yeah. Get that Essence Scatter out of here. Now they get to recast their draw card spell. Draw another card, dig for some creatures. So they have 4 mana up, I have 5 damage on board, and they're at 9 life. This has been such a weird game. Based on how we've drawn so far, I would have expected this game to be going far worse for us, but our opponent has just not been able to put any creatures on board. And hopefully if they can, it'll be a 2 toughness card, maybe the 3/2 flyer or something, so I can just tribute to Urborg it. Alright, Tolarian Geyser bounce the Librarian. They have 1 blue mana up. Seems like it's time to slam down a Sheoldred. No mana up, it's definitely time. And I hit a white source. Pretty sure I slammed down Sheoldred while they're tapped out. Am I cool with the trade here? Kind of okay with the trade. I don't love it, but gets their dork off the board. At 5 mana, Phalanx would be 4 after I play creature. I can't play 2 spells this turn unless I play Librarian and Tribute. Which I guess I could. I put them to 7. And then they're still in a position where they need to put more things on the board to survive. This might be kind of dumb, but I think I just want to keep the pressure on them. to where they're going to have to keep spending all their mana to deal with my creatures on board or play more creatures of their own. Ooh, Banished Sleeper's great here. Extinguished Light also pretty good. And then this way they just spend a bunch of mana dumping another creature out, and then they'll still be tapped out for a Shieldred later, potentially. And they're getting to the point they're going to have to start using their removal on our creatures, if they have any. Oh wow, this is going to be a disgusting Banished Sleeper. Yeah. Could sack the Conscript because it can come back later, but I'd rather hit for 5, put them to 2 life, so they're dead to 1 Shieldred trigger. Banished Sleeper, a pretty matchup dependent card, but when you get in a position where your opponent just drops 1/5/5 or 1/4/6 or something like that, wow, is it nasty. Alright, they tapped out, we Shieldred and pass, and Shieldred kills them when they draw. And that will be game 1. Unless they have instant speed life gain, but that doesn't seem likely in blue-red. That will be 1-0 to start it off. Alright, here we are in game 2. We're going to be on the draw here. Again, we've got a Vivisector on 2, Librarian on 3, or a Cavalier. Pretty nice. Go for it. Playing against blue-green. Colt Conscript is the draw. Unfortunate. Would have been great on turn 1, but we can fit that into the curve on turn 4. 3 mana on 1 card, and 1 mana on that. Drop a Librarian. Opponent is on blue, green, and white. Destroy Evil, almost definitely good in this matchup. Take the Colt Conscript first, so I could go Sleeper, Conscript, Conscript if I want, depending on what happens here. I've already got Banished Sleeper if they play a 4-mana 4/4. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Play a Conscript and I'll kick the Sleeper, sacrificing the Conscript because it can come back later. We will scry that Destroy Evil back to the top. Definitely good in this matchup. Hit our opponent down to 13. And we have 8 power on the board for them to deal with. These kind of black-white sack decks just feel really well positioned against most of the decks that I've been playing in this format, the kind of domain decks that drop like one real big thing every turn, because you've got Banished Sleeper, you've got Bone Splinters, all that kind of stuff to clear things out, and you curve out a little more efficiently than they tend to. But we'll see. If our opponent does have like a 2-for-1 kind of spell, it's going to be bad for us. But they have to tap out for a Tura Kenurid, so we'll go ahead and Bone Splinters that, I think. Question is, what do we sacrifice? Do I sack another Colt Conscript? Could, and I'm still holding up Destroy Evil at instant speed. I think that's the play. That gets the maximum amount of damage as well. Get a Phyrexian Rager on top, sure. I'll keep it. Get them down to 5. We have Destroy Evil for their next creature. Or enchantment-based removal spell. 4 mana, Micromancer it is. We cannot destroy that evil. That is too low toughness, but so was the Tura. It was only 3 toughness. Runic Shots, they get to destroy one of our tapped creatures and scry 2. Pretty great value from the Micromancer here. We can still send in a 3/1, put them to 2 life. I can actually just double up Cold Conscripts this turn as the plan. I actually might get rid of Phyrexian Rager, Because if I draw into removal, then I win the game on the spot. Removal that can actually kill that, so like another Bone Splinters or Brunellish Sleeper. And then if I don't, then the plan is just attack with both double Conscript anyway. There we go. There you have it. That's just game. 2-0 heading into game 3. Here we are, game 3 now with our black-white aggro deck. A little bit of a slow hand again, but we're also on the draw here, which is unfortunate. Don't think it's worth a mulligan, though. The mana is pretty good. The interaction's pretty nice. Opponent starts with a black-white land into a forest. So they are on domain, it looks like. I'm just going to tribute to Urborg this Root Walla. They're not going to have enough. They're not going to have many creatures that die to a tribute to Urborg, so I'm just going to get that out of the way right now. They drop a Salvage Mana Worker and a Tangled Islet. Now I could get rid of this Mana Worker by sacking the Sleeper, but I'm just going to play it out. I'll take 1 damage. Magnagoth Sentry is the play. I think I take up the shield and slam out another Sleeper. And if they don't block, then I play a Griffin Protector. Could play a Sleeper and hold up, take up the shield if I really want to block them, but I'm pretty cool with racing if they want to attack in with this Sentry. Alright, a race it is. Argivian Phalanx. Alright, land. Perfect. Perfect. Now I can Captain's Call and Bone Splinters. Probably Bone Splinters the Magnagoth Sentry to get more Griffin Protector damage in, but I could Bone Splinters the Phalanx. I'll let my ground troops in as well. But Sleeper doesn't get through Mana Worker. It would trade with it and let the 1/1s in. It's probably solid. Alright, so their board is down to just a Magnagoth Sentry. I still have Take Up the Shield to beat this Magnagoth Sentry. I just play the Sleeper pre-combat to make Protector a 3/4. Double Magnagoth Sentry. Well, I'll kick the Sleeper then, for sure. I can't afford to play the Conscript and sack the Conscript to the Sleeper, because then I won't be holding up Take Up the Shield. Alright, the board is clear. They have 2 cards in hand, though. Looks like a solid position. That can change very quickly in these kind of matchups, though. There are lots of very big cards they can have, and Threats Undetected is going to tutor out 4 of them. We get to pick the 2 threats they get to keep. That is a very scary card, depending on how good their scary creatures in their deck are. I think I should be pretty good to just give them everything that costs more than 3 mana, because they haven't played a land this turn, so if they have really big, scary, like 5-drops or whatever, we just give them those and they can't play them this turn. So we get to hit for at least 7, put them to 5 life before they cast anything. Unfortunate. They can definitely afford 2 of those. We definitely give them the Sleeper and the Sojourner, I think. They've got 4 types for Sojourner, which means it costs 4 mana total. They can't play it this turn. It will be bad in the future, though. But none of these have reach, so Protector still gets in, and the 1/1 and 3/1 die to the small creatures too, just like they would die to Sojourner. So we'll go Sojourner Sleeper. Oh, choose 2 cards to be shuffled into your opponent's library, so they only get 1? Whoa, that's not how I thought it worked. So I guess just get a Sojourner? Or a Sleeper, even? You know what, just get a Sojourner. Wow, that's worse than I thought it was. Well, that is a heck of a draw. I could have got 1 more damage this turn by just playing Conscript, but then I'm not holding up Extinguish the Light because I only have double black. Sure, Queen all in all. Nice 1/1. We're going to extinguish this, and that'll just be lethal on board. Not on board, I have to play Conscript, then it's lethal. Then it's 5 damage exactly, because they can block the Sleeper. Some very, very nice stuff from the black-white aggro deck. Just realized my OBS messed up the whole time and wasn't recording desktop audio for some reason, so I've fixed that now, but my apologies about that. This is going to have to be a mulligan without a black source on the play. Wow. Well, that's pretty bad. I do have automatic librarian turn 3 this time at least, and I could just make it a mono white hand for now. Seems a little risky to drop a land when I need to get to librarian badly. This is not a good start to this game. First game we're on the play, and sadly, kind of the worst hand. Play that Sleeper on 2 to get attacking in. Trade for a Tide Turner, I guess. Let's do some scrying. Tribute and Conscript. Ooh. Having some really nasty mana issues this game. Black sources are running and hiding. Aether Channeler, very, very good early game play. Can slow things down bouncing a card, can... Yikes. Can draw a card of your own, or it can make a 1/1 flyer. They decided to draw a card here, so they are definitely ahead in card advantage. There we go. They've definitely got Essence Scatter up at this time. Negate is not as good main deck and not as widely played, so I think I play Captain's Call over Aaron. But they could have the double blue and 1 counter. Like they're not going to counter anything. Could attack with Librarian. I trade into the Channeler, the Battlefield Swarm. Battlefly Swarm. Or I could just sit here and hope to get counters on my stuff with Aaron later. Right, Shadow Prophecy, 3 mana, draw 2. I feel like our mana issues put us too far behind this game, because our opponent has a bunch of great value plays that they've been doing. Some card draw going on here to make sure they have, wow, really make sure they have more cards to play around with than us. So this is the kind of matchup we really needed to aggro them out early, and could not do that fast enough here. They're still holding up scatter mana. Destroy Evil doesn't do anything right now. Can play Aaron, but they could have Scatter. There's not even anything really big enough to Bone Splinters yet. Guess I just hold up my instant speed plays. The card draw never ends. Well, we drew all of our token production this game, so this would have been a matchup or a game where a heroic reinforcements would have been sick. Or heroic charge, the thing that gives +2/+1 to the whole board. Double Aether Channeler seems good. We are never going to resolve this, Aaron. Four, 7, 8. Get a lot of scry when my creatures die here. They can kill almost everything I attack with here, but I'm dying in 4 swings in the sky. I can't sit here forever. Whatever, I'm just gonna flunge a couple times. The channelers have to die if they block, so that's a thing. Oof, kill the Vivisector first thing so the scry all does not happen. I think Librarian's gonna be good enough. That was a bad start to this combat. Probably even just let it all through and then kill me on the crackback. That is not what they choose to do. We do get to clear out a lot of the creatures. Clear out the channelers here. But we don't get any of that extra scry anymore. They've got another tribute. Yeah, this game was pretty unwinnable. I'm just gonna, well, it's not over, it's just frustrating. I mean, it's not literally over, it's just over. We have another turn. Gain 2, block, 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 take 2. Finally get to see the Essence Scatter. No, no Essence Scatter on Cavalier. Maybe they didn't have an Essence Scatter the whole time. Can't destroy Evil the Frost Fist. It is Ward 2. If I destroy Evil the Lookout, they draw another card anyway. I destroy Evil of Phyrexian Rager? No. Let's just pass. Yeah, I guess my best bet was to just slam down an Aaron earlier in the game against my opponent that was consistently holding up 1 and a blue. Because I mean, they haven't Essence Scattered all game, so maybe they just didn't have it. And Aaron might have been fast enough to outrace this. I mean, now we're mega dead, but who knows? They could have very easily had it and just decided not to use it on Cavalier because they had so many other ways to find lethal with impede momentum and stuff, even through the Cavalier. Not lethal, but to shut it off and make sure they still hit us for 4 in 2 turns. Again, I've got another 1 turn after that, technically. But I'm over it. We are 3-1 heading into game 5. Just super rough to start a game with a mold of 6 and your opponent just starts off up like 5 cards. 2 Aether Channelers, drawing a card and putting a creature on board. Phyrexian Rager, drawing a card, putting a creature on board. Impulse for card selection. The Shadow for draw 2. The opponent was just up way too many cards to do much there. This hand is a lot more keepable. We are on the draw here, so if we hit any land, we can drop these automatic librarians. And I get the really nice curve of starting with a Resolute Reinforcements and then sacking those to the Banalish Sleeper. Knight of Dawn's Light. Hopefully my opponent doesn't play any more creatures, but if they do, I could cast a Bone Splinters instead of a Banalish Sleeper. Just target the Knight. Caves of Koilos. And a Gibbering Barricade. Alright, Sleeper's gonna be a fine deal here, so I think I'm just gonna Sleeper anyway. Because killing either of those is fine by me. I don't think either are important enough to Bone Splinters right now. Although I cut Automatic Librarian instead to try to get Phalanx out earlier. The more turns I give them, though, the more likely they get their own Captain's Call or something. There's a lot of lines we could take here, but I'm going to go for just Banalish Sleeper. If they're running the Gibbering Barricade, they probably have some amount of token production, like Argivian Cavalier or Captain's Call or something like that. That would be super bad for us. Or Wingmantle Chaplain, the best card in the entire format, outside of Shieldred. Well, it's a Defender's game. This is going to be a very uphill battle. It just splinters the Chaplain, so if they play any more Defenders, at least they don't get any more Flyers from this point on, but they're already stopping my attacks really well. You know, I'll do that post-combat. I guess I'll use all my mana here. Take up the Shield and Bone Splinters this turn then. This makes the Sleeper big enough to attack in and trade with the Barricade, or attack in and not trade with a bird in the future. Just like beat a bird in combat. Raid's Frightful Return. I guess I can go screw myself. That is ridiculously good here. They make me discard a card at the cost of a bird, then they return Wingmantle Chaplain from grave to hand. Oh, the Defender's deck. Trading into Barricade means one less Flyer for them. Could extinguish the light in response to the Chaplain. Don't think it's worth it. When it enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 for each creature with Defender you control. I guess that would kill one bird. Oh, good lord. More defenders. Now they also have a 2-2 that can trade into my 4-2. If I kill the barricade, I'm also basically killing one bird. But then if they draw more defenders off the top, Chaplain is still around for that. I might Librarian into the barricade because the Librarian can't attack into it anyway. But I just can't get in through a 0-5 for any damage. Final mode of this. I can sack a non-land non-target. If I don't, I lose 2 life, they draw a card. Yeah, they're gonna draw a card, I think. Yep, let's just lower the defenders here. I should have cast this automatic librarian first and sacked this one so I could attack with both creatures here. Actually, that wouldn't do anything either. Tribute's actually fine. Kills a Vivisector or a bird. And I was thinking I should sack the Summoning Sick Librarian so I could attack with both creatures, but then they just trade into my 4-2 and just block all the damage anyway. Kicked Phyrexian Espionage. Pretty good draw. There goes Extinguish the Light. Now they've got a Walking Bulwark to start killing us with these defenders. I've got a Sheoldred. I'll stay in the game. Going to try to get as much damage in as I can here. I get at least 3 points of damage in off this attack now. And maybe if I can draw into a Sheoldred, I can drain them out of life quicker than they can kill me. It's unlikely, but that's why I went for the Urborg on the non-defender instead of attacking both and killing the wall. Don't really have much other options here. They have 5 1/1s and a 4/4 now. Probably better to kill their 4/4 than keep my 4/2 around. Now they're down to 3 1/1s, but they still have a Walking Bulwark that can get them attacking with their defenders. Basically have a 5/5, a 3/3, a 3/3. They've got the Shield Wall Sentinel as well. Do they have a second Wing Mantle Chaplain? No, they have a Clockwork Drawbridge though. It's 5 1/1s. Time for Game 6. Here we are now in Game 6. We're 3-2. Had a really great start. Our deck is very well positioned against the kind of big green sort of domain decks. But then we ran up against some... well, one rough matchup. Our first loss was kind of just rough draws. Had to mulligan down to 6 and we still had a mono white hand and missed a land drop from getting to our scry card. Actually no, we didn't miss a land drop for that, we just scryed 2 and still couldn't find swamps for a little bit. So we just had an awkwardly slow start against a deck that managed to get a good amount of value before we could really put any pressure on. So that game was a bit rough. Probably played around Essence Scatter a bit too highly in that game as well, because we weren't going to win the game without getting an early Aaron down, so I should have tried to get an early Aaron. But the second loss was definitely just a terrible matchup. The defender's deck is absolutely nuts, and our deck does not have an answer to it whatsoever. So potentially some more domain stuff over here. Our opponent starts with a Radiant Grove, which is green and white. And Banalish Faithbonder is going to be their first play. Actually kind of nuts against our 2-1. 2 mana 1-3 over there. Sadness on the stack. Probably going to kick the Banalish Sleeper next turn, I guess. There's just 1-3s.deck? What the heck? Pre-sideboarded. I call shenanigans. Well, Sleeper's gonna kill the same thing either way. Let's just Rager then. For turn 4 Phalanx that can actually attack into 1-3 tribal. Then when you use a trick to kill my Rager, they can go right ahead. I'd rather play Phalanx or they're just the flyer here. Flyer just gets blocked by Snare Spinner that blocks as a 3-power reach. If I play one creature, Griffin Protector is too big for Snare Spinner. I don't know, Phalanx is already kind of just too big on the ground for the 1-3s. And it blocks and attacks every turn. We'll drop the Phalanx first. Yavimaya Sojourner, probably time to Bone Splinters. Especially since I've got extras. I don't have to do it till post-combat. Oh wait, no, I have to do it right now. What am I on about? I did not play the flyer. For some reason my brain was like, oh, you already played the flyer, you're good, just attack. No, this is a 4-4 Vigilance, not a 4-4 flyer. That would be pretty insane the other way around. We'll play the Griffin Protector this turn. Citizen's Arrest. Well, I do have one enchantment removal spell in my deck that could blow that up later, which would be pretty sick if it happens. I think I'm gonna Banalish Sleeper here. I'm gonna get a huge Griffin Protector attack in is what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna go Vivisector. Actually, I can't afford to Vivisector, Sleeper, and Conscript. Awkward. Because I need 3 mana for Sleeper and then 2 for these two. So I guess I just don't Vivisector, I just Sleeper, sacking Rager, and then Conscript back from grave for value. Could return it at instant speed as well. I don't know why I would need to, but I can. I could just be like, surprise! 1 extra point of damage. No, that was kind of fun. Could Bone Splinter's Conscript away. Probably not worth it. I can attack pretty freely into the Snare Spinner with the Griffin Protector at least. If my opponent just passes turn here, then sure. So that we can get Sleeper in as well. But it's probably safer to save the Bone Splinters. Or if they do play a better creature this turn. Elven Strike Team. Bunch of 1/1s, that's pretty glaring problem for our ground troops. Oh, they're gonna attack with everybody. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I am pretty confident in this race. If they have like the +2/+1 spell, that could be pretty bad for me though. I need to play it moderately safe. I hit them for 8. Then I just hit them for 4 next turn and I win. So if I hit like any creature, it's 2 creatures. If they have the +2/+1 spell, they have +2/+1 and trample, so I'm kind of dead no matter what if that's their last card in hand. Because it's all going to be trample damage. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 with trample. 14 with trample means I need to block at least 4, which would mean I'd have to attack with like nobody here. I guess I could just Bone Splinters to stop it, right? Because then it would just be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 with trample. So I guess I am going to Bone Splinters this turn and Bone Splinters the strike team so that I don't die to that card. Sure. And we Bone Splinters away the Conscript. That way, if I have to block with Vivisector, I at least get Conscript back during their turn. And I get to scry 1 off of this. Extinguish the light should be helpful. Shalai's Acolyte. Alright, well, Extinguish Light will certainly be helpful. I don't get to attack this turn because I didn't play a creature. They are going to scoop them up, though. I will accept that. Let's say we can't actually attack on this board state now because I didn't play a creature this turn, so Snare Spinner would just eat my Griffin Protector 3/3 into my 2/3. This can't attack into 1/1s. This just gets blocked by Snare Spinner, so if I attack all, they kill my Griffin Protector without losing a creature. They kill my Sleeper at the cost of a 1/1. I guess they let the Vivisector in. But then I'm out of stuff. I just replay Conscript. So, I mean, they still weren't in a great position because every turn that I can play a creature, Griffin Protector is going to hit. But they were definitely not quite dead. They certainly could have drawn into stuff that would change that if they just hit like 1 removal spell. Get rid of Griffin Protector. I think we're losing that game. We are 4-2 now, though, so nice positive record for this draft. Pretty fun deck. It's been some solid stuff. See if we can keep the draft going a little while longer here as we head into Game 7. Opponent is on the play here. We've got an incredibly keepable hand. Great mana, great early game plays. Phalanx is probably pretty cheap with Reinforcements plus Sleeper, or we can just Reinforcements plus Sleeper to kill an opposing creature. Now I can Reinforcements into Rager if the plan is to just curve into a Phalanx. Gonna take 1 from a Battlefly Swarm. Playing against green-black, it looks like. Toxic Abomination. It's the table. Not that scared about racing that card. Just drop a Phyrexian Rager to trade with it. And then we've got Phalanx as our turn 4 play. Another Battlefly Swarm. Play Phalanx and attack with the 1/1s. Because we need them on the board to cast the Phalanx, but then trading a 1/1 into their 1/1 Flying Death Touch is a pretty good deal. So we'll offer those trades. And a Magnagoth Sentry. Sleeper's not going to get rid of that, it's just going to get rid of a Battlefly. But if we hit Bone Splinters or anything, we definitely have ways to deal with that in our deck. For now, do we trade a Take Up the Shield into their Battlefly Swarm? If I had triple white, I might do that, but I'm tempted to just play Aaron this turn, in which case I play Aaron and Splatter Goblin, which is a really good combo. Yeah, I think I do that. Aaron, Splatter Goblin. Next turn, we're planning to sacrifice something, probably the Splatter Goblin, to the Aaron to buff the board. Another Magnagoth Sentry, okay. This is instant speed, right? Yes, it is. Okay. So we save that at instant speed so that we could sack Splatter Goblin to kill the Battlefly Swarm if that's what they block with. Should play more creatures first, though. It's going to cost 2 mana to use that ability. But I need 2 mana to use that ability, 2 mana hold up Take Up the Shield if they double block Phalanx with 2 sentries. I guess I sack the Splatter Goblin, kill the Swarm, and then attack in with Phalanx holding up Take Up the Shield. Yeah. Could have a like +2/+2 kind of combat trick here. They were thinking about using to save that. But that wouldn't really do anything about the Take Up the Shield, so that's fine. Cool. Knight of Dusk's Shadow. That's going to be a phenomenally cheap Phalanx. I dislike this Battlefly Swarm a lot. Am I just chilling for now? I might just be chilling. Yeah. Phalanx for Battlefly Swarm does not feel like a particularly good trade. Bortuk Bone Rattle, oh lord. Return any creature from their graveyard to their hand. They're going to choose to put another Battlefly Swarm on the board. Oh, the Battleflies. I'm going to go ahead and scry one here. Put that on the bottom. There's another Take Up the Shield. Okay, and they can't give... They can't give Death Touch this turn. This is actually a pretty solid turn to attack with the Phalanxes. I think I do take up the shield here. So leave Phalanx on board, make it bigger. I might just play Sleeper just as a creature here. I think I do. No, Aaron has been extinguished. I do get to scry one and get this land out of the way. Nice shield red. If I attack here, they go trade, trade. Yeah, we don't really have attacks, we'll just drop shield red pass. I completely forgot I had a shield red in this deck. Because we've drawn our one game. Completely forgot about that. When we drew her this game, I was like, oh, okay. Alright. Damn, shoddy, okay. Damn, she old red. Alright, get out of here, automatic librarian. That's a lot of Battlefly Swarms. They are swarming. Oh, I can't gain life because they're Knight of Dusk's Shadow. Extinguish the lights. I can kill one of the swarms. Kill one with Griffin Protector as well. Probably better to just hold this and sit on my butt, let Shieldred do her thing. Dang it, if that were like a bite down, I could counter it here and it would have been huge. But I suppose that resolves. We get to scry one. Swamp out of here. I think I shoot a Battlefly Swarm here. And they have 3 blockers. They go block, 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 take 6. If I draw a creature, they're dead. If I extinguish a Battlefly Swarm, and I think I extinguish a Battlefly Swarm because I have more removal that can kill the board tuck than the swarms, awkwardly enough. Plus the Bortuk can't kill the 6/6s and 7/7s. Colt Conscript, I believe that's dead on board. Block, 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 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we attack all and hope all they have is the Battlefly abilities. Yep, they're just gonna scoop them up right there. And we're now 5 and 2 in the money, in the value, as we head into round 8. Here we are in round 8. We're on the draw, which helps us try to hit a land, and if we do hit a plains, we can drop Aaron. If we hit any land, we can play Librarian. Bit sketchy, but I have a Bone Splinters to sack a Conscript if things go a little hairy in the early game. We're crossing our fingers though, and we do immediately hit the plains this time, which feels very nice after last time I tried to keep a 2-lander. This time, full rewarded. Hopefully we can play aggressively enough here to beat this green deck. Bog Badger, turn 3. Good old 3-3 to stop my 2-1. I think I would rather play Aaron first while they're tapped out than play the Librarian right now. I already know what I'm doing next turn, which is Argivian Phalanx, so I don't need to scry into more plays right now. I've got the plays. Alright, solid curve coming out from the green deck here. Green deck on the play with a 3-mana 3/3, 4-mana 4/4. We are actually on the back foot here, which is not ideal. But that just kind of happens when you're on the draw. Threats undetected. See how scary this player's big creature-based threats are? I had somebody at the pre-release cast a Threats Undetected against me and pull out the Rare Angel. Oh my Jesus Lord. They pulled out the Rare Angel, the Mythic Rare Dragon, Namada, because they were like 5-color. So they just revealed like they're four rare creatures. I was like, great. Yeah, we can't really give them Touch Over, Defiler, or Vigor. That's for sure, so we have to just give them great value with Frost Fist and Vine Shaper. We choose the 2 cards to be shuffled in. Really important to read the text up here. So we choose Defiler and Techova. The absolute mega bombs that are in our opponent's deck. One for one trade for Phalanx, not horrible, but I do get to attack them with Phalanx if I don't block here, which I am an enjoyer of. Ooh, now I have a Take Up the Shield as well. Kind of like getting a Librarian down and holding up a Take Up the Shield. Definitely not Bone Splintering anything right now. I like Tribute and Take Up the Shield. Tribute less good here. It'll help us win in combat, but Take Up the Shield does the same thing, but better. I think I keep Take Up the Shield. I might keep both. Take Up the Shield, definitely the better card here, though. Kind of want more threats, more creatures to go wide with Aaron, for sure. Yeah, I'm just going to keep the 1 Take Up the Shield. I could send an Aaron, they'd have to double block, and then I could Take Up the Shield to kill the Badger. That doesn't really seem worth it. I think I just attack with Phalanx for now. Vine Shaper Prodigy. They're digging for another island here, I'm guessing. Help get to that Frost Fist Strider. They do play a blue source, so maybe that's what they were digging for. 2-1, it's going to be really hard for a 2-1 to get in here, so we'll sack it. Also, because it can come back later. Potentially. Can double Take Up the Shield, and I can Bone Splinters now. Probably attack everybody, hold up, double Take Up the Shield. If they want to kill Librarian, it might not actually be the worst deal ever. To just let them. Because then I get Cult Conscript back. So I'm gonna like super down a card. My 4/3 just downgrades to a 2/1, and then I get to hold up, take up the shield for something later where I wouldn't have killed a creature in the combat. So they Frost Fist Strider down the Phalanx this turn, I think. Oh, they just naturally drew Defiler Vigor or pulled it out with Vine Shaper. That's rough, but I will definitely kill that. If they block, I'll take up the shield. If they don't block, we Bone Splinters it. One blue or black mana up here. The only thing that can go wrong is Timely Interference, and I can still kill that through Timely Interference. I guess they could have Shore Up for +1/+1 hexproof. That would have countered our Bone Splinters if we cast it main phase anyway. Alright, cool. Wipe out most of the board here. Keep the Cold Conscript instead. They do have Shore Up. Well, we're screwed either way then. Can't Bone Splinters into a Shore Up. That actually played better than Bone Splinters would have. So that's fine. Yeah, it's like the best we would have had. Best outcome we could have had there. Not sure it's good enough though, because Defiler Vigor is a heck of a card. If I blow up the Defiler now, I make sure they don't put any counters on the rest of their board, but I'm not getting any attacks in this turn. I do get a Scry 1. I could attack with Phalanx to kill the Strider, but then I lose the Phalanx, and they keep a Prodigy down still. Although again, because of Cult Conscript's value, that might be fine. We trade our 5/5 down into their 4/4. But we also get a 2/1 out of the exchange. As soon as Aaron's untapped, I get to make this a 6/6 where it kills both, though. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yikes. Double Frost Fist Strider. Guess we're not doing any Aaron stuff. If I hold Phalanx back, though, at least they can't attack me. And then hopefully Mesa Cavalier can try to get there. If Aaron can't do anything, at least maybe Mesa Cavalier can. Phyrexian Espionage. That's why I held the land in hand earlier. When I had land Bone Splinters and I could have played land per turn, I was playing around a potential kick to Phyrexian Espionage. Sleeper of the Banalish variety. Probably worth it to kick it. Trade our 3-1 into their 2-2 on the ground, and then get a Cold Conscript back from grave. And scry 1, hitting an Argivian Phalanx. Pass the turn because we can't really attack into the Djinn of the Fountain. I think we sack Cold Conscript during their end step. Wow. Maximum impact every turn, triple Frostfist Strider in a row. God. The plan was to sack Conscript now, and then sack Vivisector next turn and get Conscript back from grave. Now that Aaron's gonna be locked down. Just resolve it. Moderately bold, but I'll take it. I guess we are getting some damage in the sky. Get them down to 7. Pixie Illusionist kicked. Well, now we definitely can't get in the sky. Stop on upkeep, please. Thank you. Five blockers. Probably draw first. If I draw removal, it might be worth it to like all attack. I could sack to the scry first. Oh, another Cold Conscript? Oh my god. That is a weird Essence Scatter, but I'm very okay with that. Guess they just want to scry one. I'm incredibly okay with that Essence Scatter. Okay, they pass turn. Sack my Conscript. Next turn I bring both Conscripts back, sacking Vivisector. Ooh, okay, maybe I don't. Maybe I cast a Shield Rip instead. They've used one Essence Scatter. Will they have another? Do I do that right? If I do that, I don't get to do my Cult Conscript shenanigans where I sack Vivisector, get 2 Conscripts back on the board. Yeah, it's just an easier way to try to find the win. They did not have another Essence Scatter. It's gotta feel super bad for my opponent having scattered a Conscript now. I guess the idea is it slows down Aaron a little bit, but again, they just come back from graveyard. Uh-oh. Make that a plane so they have full domain for whatever they're casting. Oh, get the white mana from the Tellurian Geyser so they can gain some life. Now if I sack Vivisector, I'm not getting both Conscripts back this turn. But I am making Cavalier big enough to attack into the Djinn and force a trade. And then I get the conscripts back after I kill the Djinn. Maybe. I think it's probably worth it. Captain's Call. Yeah, I'll keep it. Another Pixie Illusionist. They're at 6 life, losing 2 every turn. I play Aaron Captain's Call and pass. Setting up just more counters on the whole board. There's Niall in the sky, that's pretty big. Draws them the best card out of their top 5 every time. One, two, three, four, five, six. Three, they're not quite dead yet. Sluts Phyrexian Rager. Now I'm just gonna pass again. Kind of got inevitability here. In many ways, between Aaron and Sheoldred. Send in Niall. Lock Niall. And they scoop them up. That's going to be game. Aaron was already really popping off that game, but the Sheoldred on top of it, to make it really simple to find lethal there, helped a lot. Sheoldred making sure we're damaging our opponent while we're still doing the Aaron setups. If not, our opponent had enough interaction that was slowing us down there that they might have been able to survive long enough to draw into a Techiova or something before we got enough power out with Aaron to close out the game. So once again, just some kind of sick stuff from Sheoldred, but pretty solid stuff from Aaron again. And we're going to be heading into the final round here. We are 6-2, so this is the last game of Magic for the day, no matter what. We're either going to go 7-2, get another trophy run here, or 6-3, and fall into the sad state of so close, but not quite. Alright, here we are now in the final round. I've got a Resolute Reinforcements on 2, Bone Splinters to back it up, Tribute for an opposing creature. If I can hit just one land, I can use Librarian to try to scry into the land I need for Sheoldred. I'm going to snap keep this. We do need to hit specifically another swamp for Sheoldred, but again, such a powerful card. It is definitely worth the risky keep. We've got the automatic Librarian guaranteed on turn 3 now. Reinforcements, pretty nice against that Haunting Figment. Alright, now we drop a Librarian, scry into a swamp, fingers crossed. We do scry into a swamp, and a Cult Conscript is fine. It's pretty good with the Bone Splinters. I think I will keep it here. I could see scrying it away, because it is a bit late for that card, but still. Voda Sea Scavenger. They basically scry 3 here, put 1 on the top, the rest on the bottom. No attacks again. Here's a Sheoldred while they don't have Essence Scatter up. Pass. They look primarily blue here. That's 2 islands, 2 blue cards, 1 Haunted Mire, so they could have black removal, such as Extinguished Light to deal with Sheoldred, but they don't have the mana to cast it yet, at least. So far, with the information we have, the worst that can happen is they bounce Sheoldred back to our hand and we'll just replay her, which looks like what's happening here. They're tapped out from counter spells, so she's definitely the play. Even if she is blown up by some kind of black removal spell, she has accomplished a lot of damage to my opponent. Well, we know what we're doing every turn. We're just gonna keep replaying a Shieldred. This kind of shows off how busted Shieldred is. Normally, if your opponent like kept bouncing your bomb and you had to keep recasting it, you wouldn't be getting anywhere that game, but she's still just sitting there damaging my opponent. Micromancer into Cut Down is pretty good, but Cut Down cannot kill this Shieldred, so we're still in a very good position overall here. I can play a Cult Conscript, and I can play a Phalanx for only 1, which is great, and I'm holding up a Tribute to Urborg if I need that, because I don't think I'm Bone Splintersing any of these creatures. Send in the squad, looking for somewhere to use a combat trick to kill Shieldred, maybe? Or maybe just trying to get some damage in before they die. I'm definitely not putting Shieldred in combat, we'll just block like this and take 5. +2/+2 hexproof makes it a 4/4 hexproof. If I tribute first and they don't have another trick, this will be pretty nasty. Yep, we're just gonna kill that and keep our Phalanx on board. We've got a Blight Pile to play. 2 blockers here. Pretty sure there's some way to find lethal. They block just that, take 4, 5, 6, 7. Not quite. Yeah, we can't quite find lethal, but I'm still going to Bone Splinters away the Blight Pile. We put them to 1 life after they draw a card. Drag to the bottom, Shieldred's too chunky. Oh wow, that is such an indicator for just how that game went. They had the drag to the bottom too, and it killed everything except Shieldred. Because Shieldred is a busted card. We won, I think we won every game that we drew her in. And yeah, she's gonna take us all the way to 7-2 there. I think we had three wins off the back of Shieldred, 4 off just nice black-white aggro stuff. So really nice draft run all around. Super happy to get a trophy, especially with a new, not a new archetype, but an archetype I have not been drafting a ton recently. Did just a lot of domain drafts lately, so super nice to play something different here. Definitely really like this archetype. I think it's well positioned against more slow like green domain decks that play a bunch of just big individual creatures and just slower decks in general. It's obviously good against when you have 1 mana 2/1s and 2 mana 3/1s. The Cult Conscripts actually popped off. We got to do some really fun Cult Conscript stuff with this deck with Bone Splinters and Aaron as ways to sacrifice them. So I'm really happy I actually got to do things with Cult Conscript this time around. That was super sweet. Obviously Shieldred is ridiculous. She's the biggest, bestest card in the deck and one of the biggest, bestest cards in the set. But I was incredibly happy with Take Up the Shield. Banalish Sleepers were huge overperformers. I think these are just phenomenal commons. really won us some games early on. Those first 3 victories were really off a lot of banal sleeper plays that were kind of sick. So yeah, just really good stuff altogether. Huge fan of the deck, and not much else to say other than that was a sweet draft. Well, I hope you all enjoyed watching that draft as much as I enjoyed playing it. If you want to see some more videos like this, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to let the YouTube algorithm know to send you some more of these videos in your recommended feeds. Tomorrow we have the qualifier weekend for Dominaria United, so that is a huge competitive event. I'll be trying my best in Dominaria United Sealed. Hopefully open some cool things, make a nice deck, and get a few wins in that more competitive event. But we'll see. We'll see. Tomorrow is the qualifier weekend, big thing. Other than that, we'll just be doing more drafts and sealeds as always, just a more Dominaria United. So once again, I'd just like to thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.